So we're live now. We're just gonna wait a little for people to get notification of this program and tune in and join us on this program. Just have to wait a little minute, like a minute, I guess, and then we can start rolling off on this program. Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to Life and Relationship Realities with Tolu Alabi. Like I always say, today is the day that the Lord has made. We'll rejoice and be glad in it. I'm so excited about today because I've always wanted this guest to come. I think since last year, and funny enough, I never mentioned it. But I've always wanted that one day he's going to come up on this program to talk about his experience and to be a blessing to us today with a word of advice. And so I'm going to be introducing my guest. My guest is Wole Solanke. He's a legally trained cybersecurity analyst and father of 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. He resides in London in the UK and is a passionate supporter of Arsenal Football Club. He enjoys cooking and is into physical fitness, which he honestly believes is a responsibility we should all take seriously. Wole Solanke is an advocate of fairness and equity, a lover of God, and a man on a mission to make an impact on his family, his community, and the world at large. He was married to late Mrs. Buki Solanke ni Olorunshola. Join me as I welcome this man of great integrity and resilience, my first cousin, by the way. Help me welcome Mr. Wole Solanke. Wole, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Pastor Tolu. I'm glad to be here. It's a time of. I hope it will be a time of learning and a time of that will impact or benefit as many of your guests as possible.
Okay. So if you're watching me, like I always say, please say where you're watching from. I can see my sister-in-law Bola Solanke. I can see Dorothy, Peter. Please just say where you're coming from. Today is going to be amazing, really. Like I said earlier on in the introduction, Wole is my first cousin, so I know him very well. He's my brother. You know, in Africa, white people have cousins. In Africa, we are brothers.
Brother and sister.
So, and sometimes people will say my cousin brother, and then in America, they're like, oh, somebody cannot be your cousin brother. Is he your brother? Is he your cousin? I said, that's our African English. So Wole, you are welcome on this. Please feel free to call me Tolu, please. You are welcome on this program. So we want to talk about something that happened to you several years ago. I remember my sister for me called and said, Wole is getting married, though. Wole is getting married in London, and we should all go. And then I started applying for visa. I was gonna apply for visa with I think I just had my little boy then. And I was applying for visa at the time. My brother is there, Tunde Solanke, and I applied for visa. They didn't give me the visa. So that's what the UK to deal with, But now we're on a higher ground, So I didn't get the visa. And then the wedding went well. They brought pictures of beautiful bride. But I think I met Buki before the wedding because I was in England and you had invited me to London. I was in Hull and I came over to London and I met with Buki and I met with Awujola too was there. That's also our cousin, yeah. And the 3 of us, you made dinner for us that day. I can't forget that, And funny enough, Wole, it was your place. You were the one that came to pick me the first time I got to UK. You
Yes.
came to pick me at the airport. You weren't feeling well, but you still came to pick me
Yeah.
and everything. So I'd known, I saw Buki, I met Buki, the lady we're talking about. So let's talk about, yes. Okay, so Babatunde Sholanke, yes. Mrs. Isaac, please say where you're coming, where you're watching from, please. Where you're watching from means a lot. You're watching from Jaws, you're watching from Germany, UK, anywhere, please say. So Wale, let's talk about you. Who
Okay.
was Buki?
Buki was very well. Let's start from what she is. My late wife. So, but to me, she was a very special person. You know, I met Buki at a friend's birthday party. Um, this was sometime 2000, maybe around 2000, maybe 2000, 2001. It must have been 2000 because the friend was just, we were at university together in University of Hertfordshire, but I had left. And then he left the following year. And I think it must have been the year after he left. So he left, it must have been year 2000, around year 2000. So yeah, I met her at that party. It was just a small gathering of friends. So, you know, we're not many. And immediately I saw her in that gathering of about 8 or 9 people. I just knew. I never experienced anything like that before in my life. I just had this razor focus on this girl. I can describe to you exactly what she wore that day. A brown top, crew neck, as they call it, with a black pair of trousers and a black pair of shoes. And she had her hair packed a little bit. And but we didn't really talk on that dinner itself. We're just exchanging a few hi and just laughing with the jokes that were happening, on the dinner, because it was at a restaurant in West Finchley. But then I think it was the next day, I called my friend. I said, Victor, there was somebody at that party, and I described her. Oh, he said, oh yeah, that's Buki. Do you want her number? I said, I won't mind. Do you want to connect us? So he gave me her number, and then he told her that I was going to call. And I think it took me about 2 days to get the Dutch courage to actually make the call. And we arranged to meet. I think we went back to that same venue, but there's a cinema in that same place. So we went there, and that's how it started. And yeah, as time went by, I just realized how special of a person she was. She was in England then to do her master's in law, because she has a legal background. And then that's how the relationship started. And yeah, so that's how Buki came into my life.
Okay. So I want to believe from the beginning you kind of knew in a way that, oh, this is a person I want to be with. I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt.
So at what point did you both start talking about marriage?
So we started a friendship, and we had a long courtship process or courtship period. So we were doing friend for about 3 years. And I think around 2004, she was coming to the end of her period because you do your master's, then you have a 1 year or 2 year period after. So she was coming to the end of that period, and I said, you know what, I personally don't want you to go back, because there's a whole process. You go back to Nigeria, and then I have to go and come back and pick you up and marry. And I said, why don't we just do it here? And let's get married. And she was like, oh well, I have to tell my dad and my mom and this. And I said, yeah, I'm ready for that, right? So I proposed to her. I think it was New Year's Day 2004. It was, yeah, New Year's Day 2004. I remember again very clearly where I was, and I said to her, we've been friends now for a few years, and we started dating maybe, I think it was 2003, we actually started dating. I said, and I think, you're the one. Will you want to marry me? And she was like, you know how women do now. But yeah, I was very happy, and because she said yes, and that was a great thing for me.
Okay. So then you started planning the wedding.
Yes, we started planning, informed both families. That around that time, I think we also had to go home for her mom's birthday. So I had an opportunity to go to Nigeria with her to meet her dad and mom. Although I'd met them already, because the parents come every year to England. So I'd met them. They had their house in Golders Green. And so I'd met the parents, but I had the opportunity to come to Nigeria and meet them in their own home in Nigeria. So we did that. So the planning started in earnest in the beginning of 2004.
Okay. So by that time, both of your parents were late. Both of your parents were late. You have a senior brother, but your family too are based in Nigeria, like other families. I
Yep.
mean, Wallace's dad is my mother's immediate junior brother.
Mm-hmm.
So but by then all of them, my mom, Wallace's dad, they had passed. And
Mm-hmm.
so you said you wanted to marry. So let's talk about the cancer issue.
Okay.
So you were going to get married. So let's quickly say, so what year was that you got married? I'm trying to remember.
2005.
So 2005 was the marriage.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2005. Yes. Was
You
the
got
marriage.
married 2005.
Yeah.
And Buki died 2006.
6.
She died a year after you got married.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about what happened before or and in between that time,
Okay. So
before.
2004 was the proposal. The proposal was, let's get married and everything like that. And then we started planning. And as part of that whole planning, we decided to move in together, to live together. So around, I think it was March 2005. So at the beginning of 2005, the families had decided what date. So it was going to be September 2005. So around March 2005, the we were living together at the time, as we were preparing for the wedding. And then one morning, it was a Sunday, I can never forget. She came to me and said, "Well, I want you to help me check something." She said, "Can you feel anything?" And she brought her chest. And I said, "What?" And she took my hand and said, "Look at this, feel this." Honestly, as I felt it, my spirit I knew something, this isn't right, right? So I said, okay, no panic. Let's go and see your sister, because her sister is a consultant medical doctor in, I think, oncology, one of those fields which had to do with leukemia. So it's a similar kind of cancer. So we drove to the sister's house in Edgware, and the sister said, okay, let's go upstairs. Let's go and see. Let me go and do a small examination. So she took her to her room upstairs. And then the sister came back down and said, it's nothing to worry about, but tomorrow, make sure you go and see your GP. That's the doctor in the UK, which would have been a Monday. And knowing Buki, I knew that if I leave Buki to go on her own, she won't go. So I called my workplace. I said, I can't come in today, And in those days, we were lucky you could get a same-day appointment with your doctor. You just have to maybe wait a little bit. So we went to the GP in Dulwich Hill, and he also did an examination of Buki, and he said he made some things in his laptop, in his computer. Then he made a phone call in front of us. Then he said, there's nothing to worry about, but right now, go to Central Middlesex Hospital. I have made an appointment there for you. So I'm saying to myself, Auntie, we call her sister Auntie Mo. Auntie Mo yesterday said, no problem, but go to GP today. GP today said, no problem, but go to hospital right now. So I said, okay, yeah, let's go. We got to the hospital. And because the GP had called ahead, as soon as she introduced herself at that department, they said, oh, yeah, come with us. Again, I'm thinking, why is this urgency? So they took her through a number of tests that day, from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And then at the end of the whole day, I think this must have been around to 6 in the evening, and we started in the morning. They said, okay, we have enough data, but we've booked an appointment for you to see a consultant on Thursday. So on Thursday, by this time, we had to inform her family. Auntie Mo already, of course, she's a doctor. She knew. So she was calling us, what's going on? What did the doctor say? What did the hospital say? What did this one say? Blah, 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 like that. So, we said, okay, we have an appointment for Thursday. So between Monday and Thursday, all her siblings lived in this country except one. Auntie, what's her name? I've forgotten her name now. But between that Monday and Thursday, she had flown in. So the whole family was together on Thursday when we went back for the result. So we went back again. I called my workplace. I said, I can't come in today. I have to support my partner. And we went to the hospital, and it was our turn. It was an afternoon appointment, but we got there very early. I think the appointment was 1 o'clock. I think we were already at the hospital at 11. And then the whole family was there. But the doctor said only me and her can go and see the consultant. So we went in, and the first thing the man said is, I'm so sorry. We have found a lump in your chest. It was one of those, I can't even imagine what Buki felt like, because to me it was a blow. So I was feeling already like, what? So I can't even imagine how she was feeling. She broke down, of course. And then we went out to join the rest of the family, and there were hugs and kisses, and everybody was crying, and everybody's saying we're going to be all right. And in that moment, I looked at her like, this is the person I want to marry. We're not yet married. We're going to get married later that year. And even though she was in that state of weakness, I looked at her and I was more in love with her. To me, it wasn't her fight alone. It was our fight. So for me, it was just, I knew almost immediately there wasn't going to be an issue of abandonment. I wasn't going to leave and whatever. But again, as a responsible person, I had to tell members of my family. So I called. My mom's sister was still alive, and then my mom had a cousin who was more like his sister. So these are the two key stakeholders, if I call them. And then there was Sister Fumi Adedibo as well. But I called those two first. And I got two different responses. One said, and I won't say which is which, one said, run. You don't know what you're about to carry. Run. And the other one said, no. You have to stand by her. And
I can imagine, I can figure out who said what. Well, let's leave. Because I know the two people, I know their personalities, and we'll play on the things they say here.
So then there was a moment, I was working at that time, there was a moment at work, and almost like this, I heard, when you have two voices in your head. And then the voice said to me, come, let me ask you a series of questions. On the morning she came with a lump, did you love that girl? And my answer was yes. On the day you found out at the hospital, did you love that girl? The answer was yes. So what is the difference? What changed after the doctor told you she had cancer? What changed? Nothing. It was just a physical ailment. And that's why I had peace. And I said, you know what? Nothing is going to change. The date of our wedding is not going to change. The fact that I want to marry you is not going to change. Nothing is going to change. And this battle you are in now is not yours to carry alone. It's for us to fight together. I said, don't be discouraged. Be encouraged. God is going to do something here. And then that we started on a series of consultations with different doctors and different consultants, trying to find out the best treatment for her. But yeah, that was how the thing happened.
Yeah, that must have been, if you're watching, please try and share this video. I'll really appreciate that. That must have been a big thing, you know, like you're expecting something beautiful. You're going to have this beautiful life with this woman where both of you will get married, have children and everything. And I can imagine like you have this big balloon that was decorated, and it's going to make everybody come into the hall and like, wow, this is beautiful. And then just got punctured, you know, just got deflated. And I can imagine the pain that she must have. Let me ask you before we go on, at that point, did it ever occur to you that about death? I know when you hear cancer, it can be both death or life. Did you think that there was going to be death, or you were optimistic at some point to say, okay, we can still fight it? And
yeah, I think for us, we consciously took the decision to be positive. We if, as you said, once anything mentions cancer, there's almost an immediate association with death. But we chose to fight. We chose to look on the bright side. And one of our sources of hope, apart from our God and our belief, was that her sister, her immediate senior sister, had cancer herself and won and survived. So we saw something. There was hope. That if your sister had fought and had the cancer and won, then why are you going to be different?
mm-hmm.
We're also going to fight, and we're going to win together.
At this point, I think I also just want to commend you, because that is the problem that a lot of marriages, relationships are going through, you know, these days, not able to stand true with someone that you love. You know, I know situations are different, you know, circumstances are different. But on this situation, you know, I want to commend you, because it's not what you have on a normal day. People will have find a way, you know, to escape, you know, maybe not outrightly initially, because even though you had the hope that she may come, you know, out of this cancer, which she didn't come out of, you know, but the thing is, you knew that there were going to be other issues. There will always be complications, even if that person survived and so on. And you were willing to like, okay, I'm going to stay with it. I'm going to stay with it. This is the person that I've chosen. And because she wants to work it out too, she wants me to say, because it takes two. Because at that point, she was willing to stay in the relationship. You are the key player there, because you are the one to decide if you want to marry or not. You know, you were willing to stay in the relationship. Let me ask, did she at any point ask you if you wanted to leave or something? I know she was too burdened with so much at that point. Or did you assure immediately?
Funny enough, no. She never did. I think the fact that I gave the early assurance was enough for her. She never did. Not at that point in time. But as the treatment started, and then her condition worsened after the wedding. Maybe I'll tell you a little story. So she started the treatment
before the marriage.
Before the marriage, yes. So she had started the chemo. We did the they did they did some surgery, took out some lymph nodes in her breast and both of her the armpits, and we also started chemotherapy. But because of the wedding date was in the middle of 2 chemo cycles, they said they will skip one so that she'll be strong enough on her wedding day. So on our wedding day, she was meant to be having a chemo treatment, but the doctor said no problem, we will skip one so that she'll be strong enough. And she danced and danced, and that was, to me, was one of the most beautiful things, because you see her that day, you never knew that this girl, if you didn't know, you couldn't say this girl is going through anything. She was happy. She was, if I don't do anything else in my life, the fact that I saw that day and I saw her happiness, it's, to me, is enough. Because the body lifted from her at that point in time, and she was just, she was so full of life, full of energy. And so that was a good thing at the time.
Okay, let me ask you something about the wedding. So our parent knew, our family knew, and your side of the family, few people knew that was what was going on, because even my sister for me didn't even tell me that something like that was happening, for the wedding, wedding time. So the pastor that joined you, did the pastor know?
Yes.
What? And the pastor didn't say, "Oh no, don't."
No. So he was a reverend father in an Anglican church. In fact, he was so encouraging. He was such a beautiful addition to our lives at the time. He kept praying for us and praying for Buki and believing that Buki will come through this, So he was another source of real encouragement. And we had so much support at that time. It was unbelievable, the amount of support we had, both from her family, my family, and everybody who came across this story was like, wow, this is different. A young couple who are willing to go through this battle together from day one, in the beginning of their marriage. It's not an easy thing. I mean, I took my decision based on love, right? I love this girl, so it didn't matter. But I can see why some people will have run based on the things that happened after. Because when the one thing you don't want to see in life is someone you love in your eyes deteriorate and gradually lose power. And it was a terrible thing at the time to witness that. But I couldn't express anything because I had to always be positive for her. I had to make sure that I was positive.
Okay.
I had to make sure that I was strong.
Let's talk about after the wedding. I want to say, for viewers that are watching, please, if you want to ask Mr. Wole Solanke a question about this issue, we're talking about how his late wife, how it got into marriage, even when he knew that she had cancer, and how they were able to say, and the wife passed a year after the wedding, and so she is talking about the whole process. If you want to ask him a question, please type your question on the comment session so that I can read the question out for him to answer whatever your question is. So let's talk about after the wedding. After the beautiful wedding, what next? Because when did she die? You said she died a year after. Was it completely a year after the wedding?
No, so the wedding was September and she died the following December. Not the December of that year.
Oh, the following December.
Yeah, about 15 months after she died. So immediately after the wedding, of course, we went to continue with the treatment. And when the first set of treatment was over, I took her on holiday. We went to Tunisia for a holiday. We enjoyed our time. And then the hospital had made an appointment for her first 3-month check. So after the operation, the chemo, then after your last chemo, you're meant to do a first check after 3 months with some consultants. So we went away and we came back on the morning of the day we were meant to go for that 3 months check. So we got home.
How was she during the holiday? How was she?
She was fine. She was fine. Sometimes she'll be tired, which is a result of chemo. That's a given. But she tried her best to take part in all the activities of we planned, and on the holiday it was a really lovely time. She really, it was a time where we saw each other in a different way again. sometimes when love carries you, then reality will set in. But the reality was that, look, this is a strong girl, a fighter, you know, even though sometimes she's tired. I know in her mind she's thinking, this man has tried, let me. But me, I would say, no, if you can't stay, don't worry. She said, no, let me go. There was, I think, only one day she told me, can I rest a bit today? And I'm like, yeah, fantastic. We're both going to rest today. So we stayed and in the hotel and didn't do anything, which was fantastic. So we got back on that morning. We didn't even sleep. I think we just had a shower, got in the car, drove to the hospital. And then one of the consultants we had met pre the operations and all the chemo sessions, she came, she said, oh, how are you? This, that, and that, greeted us and whatever. She said, okay, I have to do some checks. Yeah, okay, no problem. So she then said, what have you been doing in the last 3 months? And we now told her that we went on holiday and we came back this morning. She said, why did we come? That we should have stayed more in the holiday, and told them we will come later on and she will be fine. They will be fine with it. Anyway, she started her test, which involves some physical touching around some parts of her body and what. And then she's touched something. And I was watching and I noticed she kind of almost froze. Then she said, I'm coming. Got to get somebody. She went. Then she went to call another consultant. That one said, I just nothing to worry about. I just need to do some checks myself. That one too started touching. Then he said, I think he felt the same thing. Then he said, hold on. Then he went to get something called a biopsy kit. So he said, I just want to take a little biopsy from this spot. It's not going to hurt you at all. Then we'll do some analysis of this. So he did this check. And then they said, okay, go away. In about 3 days, we'll let you know what the result is. So again, she called her brother and sister, called both her brother and sister doctors. And we told them this is what happened at this check. And they said, I had nothing to worry about, don't worry yourself. But by the time the result came back after 3 days, they had found another cancer. So it had come back. And that's when we knew her form of cancer was quite aggressive. So even though they had taken out all the lymph nodes they could see at the first operation, and then we had done the chemotherapy, it was so aggressive, it came back within 3 months. Even the woman consultant said, this is very rare to see this quick comeback of this kind of cancer. So that was when the real battle started, I think.
How was it that day? How was it like you guys got
I think we had, to us, we had been through the worst. The worst is the first time you find out. You now find out it's harder. That's we're still in the same mindset, right? The first shock was that first one, that boom, out of nowhere. The rest of it is just, okay, it's another battle to fight. But from that second visit, things were happening so fast. It was unbelievable.
When was the second visit? Can you recollect? At 1 month?
Yeah, that was. We had the first operation in April. We had the wedding in September. We went to Tunisia in, I think it was almost immediately, either October or November. October, yes, it was October. We came back beginning of November, so we went late October to Tunisia. Came back beginning of November. Went straight to so that second one was November. Yeah,
so
that second one was November.
So I'm sure they told you what to do next.
So this is where things got a bit, I don't know. So they said, okay, based on this, they could either go for another operation, but because of the nature of this cancer, they're not sure that would be of any benefit anyway. Or they could do a more serious form of chemotherapy, more targeted form of chemotherapy. But it's such a strong type of chemotherapy that she might not even survive it. But then Auntie Mo said she used her connections as a consultant, medical consultant. She got us to go and to do a consultancy with a professor of medicine. And he was very clear to us. And this is the thing. He said, listen, and he was, the way he spoke, he's a very old man. He was probably in his 70s, but very knowledgeable. And he said to Buki, you're like my daughter, you know, so I'll be very honest with you. He said, one way or the other, you're going to die.
Oh.
He said, but if I were you, what I will do is I will find a trial. Because, you know, drug companies are always doing trials of new drugs. I will find a trial and I will register myself in a trial. If it works, I'll buy a few more years. If it doesn't work, I'm going to die anyway. But you see, and I understood as a man, as a person, I understood his logic. Yeah. But Auntie Mo, you know, that's her sister, and I understand her point of view. She said, no, we're not going for any trial. We're going to go for another chemo and all this kind of stuff. And so at this point in time, we started I think early January, we started another round of chemotherapy, which finished around, because it's every few weeks you come for one. And I think we finished, I know it was around March because the weather started changing. And we finished that one in March. And then her dad came. So her dad comes around every year. So her dad came around. This time around, he came early because of Buki. He came, I think, May. And then one day, sometimes I will drop her at her dad's place when I'm going to work. And one morning I dropped her there, went to work, and then they called me and said, leave work now. You have to come. Something's happening. Said, meet us at the hospital. So Buki fell. I said, Buki fell. How did she fall? Wasn't anybody there? I mean, I dropped her at your place because there are people there who, how did she fall? So by the time I got to the hospital, Buki was saying, don't, you know, she knows me now. This is we're lovers. He said, don't, look, just listen to them. I didn't fall because anybody pushed me or anything. Something's happening. I felt dizzy. And anyway, it turns out that the cancer had got to her brain. So she was losing balance. So again, at this point in time, you know, another decision had to be taken. What do we do? So this time around, I was now saying, you know what? I've always deferred to my in-laws because they're medical people. So I said, no, I want to know. I want to take decisions. This is my wife, not anybody's. Forget whether she's your sister now. What's going on? So they showed us some scans. She did some scans on her brain. This thing was pressing on her brain. The back here. You know, it's almost, if you imagine that something is like an orange, yeah? But if you can squeeze an orange, it will bring out juice. But inside that orange is another orange growing inside that is hard. So you cannot bring out any juice. So the doctor said, there's only a small window. They can't remove that second orange, no. But they can try and drain it as much as they can to give her a chance. If not, what will happen is, no matter what, it will kill her. That growth will kill her. So we said, okay, let's do that operation. That operation happened in July, either July or August. I'm not. I think it was July. But you see, in that moment, I saw things I can never forget. So when she did the operation, the ward that she was taken to, where to recuperate, I used to go there and see her after work. Immediately after work, I'll drive by. There was another woman there also having cancer, because they're all cancer. They had all different types of cancer. So one day I think I went to get water. And as I was about to enter the ward, I saw the husband of that woman outside. And he was crying. I said, bros, just because I look at his wife and I think she can't be any worse than my wife now. Do you understand? Because she looks healthy. So I said to this man, it's okay. He said, no, it's not. I said, what do you mean? He said, her case is so bad that every day he comes, he has to introduce himself to his wife again. She forgets. So this thing is pressing on her brain, a different part of her brain. She cannot retain any memory for more than a day. The only person she could recognize every day is her son. So it is her son that will tell his mom every day, this is dad. So these things have ways of affecting people. I could not believe. I now felt that my own was even insignificant because I can talk to my wife and we will have a discussion. But this man, every day, his own child has to tell his wife that this is your husband. The man broke down that day. We had to support. We formed impromptu support group. 2 men hugging just to comfort each other. But once that happened and the thing got to her brain, we knew we were coming to the end. So at that point in time, when she came out of hospital, I called the consultant woman. I said, I want to speak to you myself without booking this time. So she gave me an appointment. She said, so I drove. I went to see her. I said, I'm not here for you to give me false hope. I need to know, how long does my wife have? And she said to me, if I'm honest with you, if she's still with us in 6 months, she will have done very well. This was September. At that point in time, they are giving me certain instructions because she came back home, So the instructions were, if she ever fell again, I must bring her to hospital immediately. So we changed our flat around. I put in different soft things so that in case she just fell, she will. And that made me conscious when, especially at night. What is this? Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to get some power to.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's charging.
Yeah. Yes. So we put in all kinds of things. So I became so a light sleeper, so that if she's going to the toilet during the night, I will wake up. So that I can either follow her to make sure she doesn't fall on the way, or make sure she's well balanced when she's going. And then one night, this was, I think, December the 4th.
Let me quickly. Okay. But during that time, both of you were still able to communicate.
Yeah. So it progressively got worse. So in the beginning, there was throughout she could communicate, virtually throughout. But things started happening. For example, eating became a problem. So we started by doing liquid food, and then that one became a problem because this thing has now gotten into this esophagus and all these areas. And then at a point in time, the only thing she could eat was ice cubes. And they had to force feed her and attach some stuff to her body so that one would be giving her nutrition because she couldn't do it herself. And then there was one day, life. So her nieces came to play with her one day. And I think she felt bad that she was going to leave them. So she left the room. And I knew as soon as she left the living room, I just followed her because I knew there was something going on. And as we entered into the room, she turned away from me, so she was facing the wall. And she said, I don't know if I've said to you this, but thank you. I said, thank me for what? She said, thank you for just being here, because I don't know if I could have done this without you. And for the first time, I think I cried. But because she was backing me, I didn't want her to see me cry. So I quickly, and I grabbed her and I hugged her. I said, you're going to be fine. There's still hope, right? There's still hope. But one of the memories that stays with me, which is both good, funny, and when she started changing, there was a day she just started shouting, "Get out of here. I want you to leave." I'm like, what? What are you saying? She said, leave. I don't want you here. I don't want you here again. I don't want you in my life. The human in me felt, what? We're going through this battle together. You want me to go to where? So I was almost beginning to get angry. And I was like, what do you mean? Why? I've done everything I think I can do. But then I realized, because that time the brain thing had started affecting her. But after she died, I thought about that day. I thought about it for many years. And I thought to myself, goodness, this woman is something else. She didn't want me to be around. She didn't want me to be around in the last days. But me, I'm stubborn, so I don't listen to all those kind of things. Anyway, after that, we hugged, we made up. But on that night of the 4th of December, she was going to the bathroom and she fell. And luckily, I was awake and I caught her before she got to the ground. So I said, you know what, Buki, you know what they told us? If you fall again, I have to call them. And she said yes. So in the morning, I called them and they sent an ambulance to come and pick her up. And that was the last time she left the house. She never came back.
Did you feel that was going to be, did you have that inclination or you didn't?
No.
You thought she was going to come back?
Yeah. I thought, okay, we will come back. So when I went to, I think after they picked her up, I went to work and then I went to see her in the evening. They had done some tests before I got there. And then I went to see the consultant at the hospital, and I said the same thing I said to the other consultant. I said, what are we looking at here? And this one said to me, he doesn't even think she'll make New Year.
Sorry, I didn't get that. He said to you that what?
He doesn't think she will make the New Year. So this was December 5th. And he said, because virtually all her organs were shutting down. Right? And, you know, we kept hoping, and I think that night was the first night I said, okay, let's get real now, because this is happening, right? So I called, the family came, the family were around, so I said to them, today, I'm telling my wife what I have heard. They said, no, don't. I said, no, enough. She must prepare herself. In case there's something she wants to do, somebody she wants to make up with, somebody she wants to forgive, while she still has her senses, she must. So that night we all gathered around her bed and I held her hand and I said, you know, Buki, this is what they have said. And she burst into tears. Her brother-in-law is a pastor. She said, but why? Why is God doing this to me? I've prayed, I've had faith. And I said to her, it's not about faith, my dear. It's about timing. This is the time that God has allotted to you. And the next day I went to see her in the hospital, and she had engineered it so that everybody it was only me and her. She now said to me, you this man, you're very stupid. I said, what do you mean I'm very stupid? She said, you're very stupid. She said, do you think I didn't know that I was dying? I said, but my family, they're weak. See the way they all cry. See, me and her started laughing at them. She said, see the way they all cry. Say, you should have told me one-on-one. I said, no, I don't want to say that kind of thing one-on-one. Then they will say, is what I told you that caused, you know. I said, no, we made light of it. We made a joke of it. And then she said to me, you're always here every day. Why don't you take a break? I said, no, I don't need to take a break. Again, so she's trying to chase me away again. So I said, no, I don't need to take a break. I said, I'm happy to be here every day. After work, I come. And there's nothing I'm doing at home now. You're not there. You're here. So I'd rather be where you are rather than not being around you. And I said, okay. So soon after that, a few days after, because her organs were closing and shutting down, she started groaning a lot because of pain. So I said to the doctors, I said, what can we do about this? Because each time she groans, they will come and give her what they call that
morphine.
thing?
Is it morphine?
Morphine injection. So the doctor now said, well, this morphine injection, they can put it on a machine that will be giving it to her regularly so that the groaning will stop. But in all honesty, it was speeding up her death. So her sister, Auntie Mo, said, no, she will continue like this. And I said, for the first time, I said, Auntie Mo, stop that nonsense. This is my wife. I don't want to see her in this pain. She's not going to be in this pain after today. I said, doctor, go ahead and give her this thing. And the next day she entered the coma. And that was it. And on the night, the day before she died on the 29th. So on the 28th, I was there just doing my normal shift. And then the sister said, as if she was talking to them in the spirit, you have been here every day. Go home, go and sleep. So I said, okay, let me go. I'll come back tomorrow. By 4 a.m., they called me and said, come, quick.
That was on the day she died?
Yeah, on the day she died.
Okay, but before you talk about that particular day, let me ask you, like the day that, from the time that both of you chatted, from the day that both of you chatted that she was going to go, was she still able to talk before they started giving that?
Yes,
morphine?
until she got the morphine treatment, she was able to talk coherently as well. It's just in those moments where the pain will come and then she will be groaning and the groans were loud and I couldn't even imagine the pain. Then they will come and with some of these hospitals, coming depends on who is available at the time.
So that day.
So on the morning they called me, they said, come. We think she's leaving now because her breath has slowed down a lot. And you won't believe it. She went 5 minutes before I got there. So Boogie had her way in the end. She didn't want me to be there. It was painful, I think. It was one of the hardest things in my life at that point in time. When you lose someone you have loved. See, this whole thing is about love, right? Maybe the message is, I didn't mind. And the reason was I was in love with this girl. So if anybody thinks, if you find love, what the world says is immaterial. It's what you want to do. It gives you so much courage to do a lot of things. And that's what I will take away from it, that, yeah, it was in the end, we lost the battle, but there's so many life lessons that I learned from being there for someone unconditionally. The same way Christ was for the church, unconditional love. So for me, it took me a long time to recover from it, yeah, because she was the one.
Mm.
So, and then I'll share with you just a little thing. So after she passed and we did the funeral, I went to see the doctor. Our GP called me and said, I want you to come and see me. So he said, okay, he thinks I will need some therapy. So he arranged some therapy. And then my family had said I should come to Lagos for a few weeks just to try and get over this thing. And he said to me, I understand you're going to travel. I said, yes. He said, I have a feeling this thing won't hit you until you come back. And he laughed and he gave me an example of something that happened to another of his patients a few years ago. And the day I came back from Nigeria, I got to the flat and I put the key in the door and I couldn't turn it. My spirit didn't want to go into that flat because this was where I lived with my wife and she wasn't here anymore. That day I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep. It was my neighbor who, he knew what had happened. He now thought he heard something. That was me trying to put the key. So he thought I'd come back, or he knew I was going to Nigeria. So he opened the door and he said he was looking at me for almost 5 minutes, standing in front of this door. So he came, turned the key, opened the door and left.
Mm.
Life and death is crazy, but in all these things, they say time heals, and it's true. But you never forget these moments with these people that you love, So for me, it took a while to recover, but I will never regret it, and I will do it again and again and again.
Wow, so many people have commented about your strength, about, for you, standing, staying there, because this month we're celebrating fathers. So generally we're celebrating men. It's not so difficult to see a woman stand by a man at difficult times like this, but what is not common is to have a man standing by a girl going through the wedding, even when he discovered cancer before. I think that's what makes this really touching, to say that as a man you're staying. I want you to just give advice to men out there. What love should have, what culture I've described for us, for what love should be, but really, what should a man be? Who should a man be? Because we've learned a lot from your own life as a man handling situation like this.
I see, every situation is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But at the bottom of each situation is that same question: do you love that girl? Mm-hmm. If you answer that yes for yourself, yes, I do, there's no condition to it then. So if you have to go through fire, if you have to fight your own parents, if you have to fight your family, if you have to, whoever you need to fight, if you have answered within yourself that I love this person, trust the process. Go with it. Go with your heart. Believing in your heart that yes, that question you ask yourself has been answered by you in front of God. There is nothing that you will not achieve with that. Yes, we went through a situation and it ended, and I had to accept that it was God's timing for her. Her sister had cancer. Second time, after she died, the same sister had the cancer second time and survived again. So what am I saying? It was God's time.
So you didn't at any point start regretting, because that's another thing that happened. People will regret, oh, maybe I shouldn't have gone through this and all of that, because it took a lot out of you too.
Yeah. I never regretted anything, because for me, I'd made peace with myself. The decision was mine. I decided I am doing this. And I decided I'm doing this because I love this girl. If it was somebody I didn't love, I would take off. even halfway through, I will take off because it's not easy.
Mm.
It is not easy to see somebody you love deteriorating every day in front of your eyes.
Mm.
See them changing. Chemo changes people.
Mm.
Then when the thing went to her brain, watching erratic behavior, you think it's easy? You think it's easy to go to the hospital every day and you're seeing different types of cancer people? Do you know how much it will take out of you? But because I'd made that decision, I was happy with that decision within myself. I could do that without even considering it as something special. It's not special. It's normal. It's normal to stay with the people you love and support them. It's normal. It's not special. It's normal to fight for your wife, who you love. It's normal. It's not special. It's normal to be there in the end days and still be having the same amount of love you had in the first day. It's normal. It's not special. There's nothing special about it. To me, it was just normal. Yes, we lost, but hey, God gained. Heaven gained. So yeah, I never regretted anything at any point in time.
So I want to appreciate you because yes, of course, when the whole thing after the wedding, the whole thing came out and so on, I mean, everybody prayed. We all prayed and we all were expecting, that news that was going to be, cancer is gone and so on like that. And I remember the day my sister called me and, she was crying and she said, Buki is gone, we lost her and so on. Like, I remember I just froze. She had asked me if I was alone and everything, but good enough, my husband was there. And when she said we lost her and so on, I for a while, I just froze, and talk more of you that have been there. So things will happen in this life, but like you rightly said, Wale, I think what is most important is standing by one another.
That's correct.
Some people, it could be a friend to you that will go through things that you can stand with them. It could be a colleague. Could even be a church member or somebody that you don't really know, but God has positioned you to be in their life at that particular time. And I know that Wale, God has compensated you, in so many ways, and God is going to continue to compensate you in the ways to make you happy. I just want to say thank you on behalf of women in the world. Let me use that, let me be ambiguous with that. On behalf of women of this world, I want to say thank you to you. Thank you for standing by a sister. Thank you for standing by a daughter. Thank you for standing by a friend. Thank you. God will honor you for that. Amen. And I want to say to people out there, please reach out. If you want to go to Wale, his name is just there and he's on Facebook. If you want to reach out to him as a guy, as a woman, you need some more advice and so on, please reach out to him on his Facebook. Please reach out to him. Wale, I'm so glad that we did this. Since last year, it's been on my mind that we'll do it. I'm so glad. And in our memory also, we want to thank God for our life, the life that she lived and the impact that she made on earth. And I want to say to anyone, you're going through things, you want to talk to somebody, please talk to someone. We came to this world. We're going to leave at some point. We're trusting God that it's going to be a long time, but whatever it is, make the most of your life while you are living. Make impact your world, impact your family, impact everybody, and the Lord bless you. We're going to be doing another episode also, because I want us to follow up on this issue of being a man and doing the right thing as a man. So I'm still going to call on you. I want to thank you for your life. Thank God for your beautiful children, beautiful and wonderful children. Thank you so much for coming on this program.
Thank you for having me.
Viewers, next week is Father's Day. This Friday, Sunday is Father's Day in America. If you have a father, a brother, or anything, try to show some love to all the fathers. And on Monday, we're going to be having a Father's Day special. I'll be bringing someone in on Father's Day special as well. So for now, please share this video and bye for now. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Please stay on.